CAD/CAM also enables new, more efficient business models, particularly for smaller clinics that cannot justify an in-house carver. And this model will be discussed in more detail by our two speakers, but I just want to give a quick overview first. Clinics can scan their patient, apply the design modifications in-house, then simply email either the scan file or the final design file to a CFAB partner who can carve the mold and return that to the clinic, or carve the mold and fabricate the final device and then ship that back to the clinic.
So next up, we have Alex Brett from Mott. So I'll just turn it over to Alex and let him take it over from here.
Perfect. So I'll just like to start by thanking Brian, Nolan, Vorum, and all the attendees. I'm really excited to be part of this. I guess I should introduce Mott. Mott has been a supplier of consumables, components, tools, and equipment to mainly Canadian O&P clinics for over 17 years now, and 12 of which I've been part of the team. I'm sure most of you are already familiar with us, but many of you may not realize that we also do offer custom fabrication services. So one thing to note, we are strictly technical. We do not do any clinical modifications, so we like to consider ourselves an asset rather than a competitor to pretty much anyone considering the Vorum solution. So we saw an opportunity to improve our fabrication services and grow that business by investing in CAD/CAM. CAD/CAM promised us two ways to grow the business. So number one is elimination of inbound cash shipments. So that's going to result in a much faster turnaround time, which will be more attractive to clinics that are further away. And also, we can offer a new service now, which is carving foam positive molds for our customers to use at their location. I would say our fabrication business has grown pretty substantially since we installed the carver 9 months ago. And the way we see things growing, we're expected to exceed our original targets of about 50% per year growth in the custom fabrication end of things. So CAD/CAM has enabled us to cut our turnaround times by up to 50% in some cases, and also to guarantee same-day shipment of foam molds if we receive a digital file by 11 a.m. So under our traditional model, we would receive a negative cast, which means our customer would have had to modify a positive shape in plaster, and then actually go one step further and create a negative cast of the mold to ship to us so that there's no damage in transit. With that model, we were typically building about one device a day, and so if we use an AFO as an example, it would take about 8 to 10 days from the time our customer completed their modified negative and shipped it to us till the time they received it back to them. They would have to do all their modifications, take a cast of that, package it up. After that transit time to us, we would set it up, pour it up, wait for it to cure, and then fabricate the device and ship it out. So that's a whole another round of transit time before it arrived at the customer's clinic. Now with the digital model, it takes us only about 4 to 5 days from the time a customer sends a file to us to receiving a device back. So as soon as a clinician finishes applying their modifications to a shape, they can email the design file to us, and we can immediately carve the foam model on the Vorum carver and have a foam mold ready to fabricate in under an hour. So if we're just shipping the foam mold, it usually will leave MOT the same day. So this is guaranteed in most cases if we receive the file by 11 a.m. And if fabrication work is to be done by us, we can have a device out the door in a matter of days. So overall, we're saving about 2 days on in-house work, and then up to 3 to 4 days in inbound shipping on that initial mold. So we see that add up to about 4 to 5 days, which is cutting turnaround times in half. I think we're ready for the next slide, Bob. So I'd like to share a pretty fun story about the accuracy of the scanner and carver. A while back, we had a customer who had, was just getting into CAD/CAM, and so they had done a TT socket in plaster, done all their modifications, and then scanned their plaster cast to send it to us just for comparison. So the picture up on the screen is actually the one on the left would be the plaster one, and the one on the right would be the foam model, and this is just a comparison shape that we'll get into shortly. So once they received the foam model, they kind of compared the two and gave me a call and said, this just doesn't look right. I was I kind of freaked out, so I packed up, went down to the customer, and immediately scanned both the original plaster model and the foam model that we had carved. We imported that into CanFit and then did a comparison. It was just amazing to see. There was absolutely no difference. You can see in the picture there's a little dot on the patella that was simply placed on the plaster cast so they could reference that in the software, and that's you can see on the right side that there's a little red dot, and that's the only spot that there was any noticeable difference between the original plaster cast and the foam cast. So it was really nice to see just how accurate it was. And kind of looking at them, we realized that it was mostly just the appearance. So the plaster being shiny and white and the foam being matte and yellow. Visually, they looked different, but they were identical. So it was really great to see that. I think we're ready for the next slide. So when we looked into CAD/CAM, we looked at kind of a bunch of systems. We really concluded that Vorom was the clear choice because their products and support were really unrivaled. The Vorom system is truly much more powerful and covers a wide range of device types, both prosthetic and orthotic. So we saw a big difference on the orthotic side with Vorom, and that's why we chose to go with them. I'd like to finish by just adding a couple other comments about the benefits and flexibility of the digital approach. So first, we realized a major benefit thanks to the replacement of physical storage of old casts and plaster molds, because now we can store everything on the computer. It's really great to have those original shapes preserved for future reference at the click of a mouse. We don't have to worry about, storing casts, breaking casts, names on casts. It's really great. We also find that the digital CFAB model provides a lot of flexibility for customers. So many of them start out by getting us to just simply carve a model and fabricate themselves, and then once they gain confidence in the accuracy and quality of the process, then they will start to outsource the fabrication to us, which is it makes for a nice gradual transition if you're not ready to jump right in. On the other hand, fabrication on foam, there is a bit of a learning curve, and that can be avoided by going directly to us for the final device fabrication. And, we just think it's nice that the customers have the choice to manage how they're transitioning. In closing, we've done a lot of experimenting. We've worked through a lot of issues with fabrication. Vorom support on the software end is really incredible. You don't have to worry about anything with that. They're great to help, but I just like to always offer anyone, if they want to contact us for some tips and tricks, if you're having trouble fabricating over foam or just want to discuss an issue you're having, we're always open to discuss that. And yeah, thanks.